game planning or?
I'm sorry. What team are you talking about? Say that again. The Bears. Are you talking about Justin Fields? I'm sorry. I don't understand. I'm tired. I'm sorry. I'm real tired. I didn't sleep at all last night.
Just from a quarterback's perspective, when you're playing a team that you just saw, a defense who was playing
Got it.
well, is there anything unique about the game planning or playing?
The one thing that has gotten our attention is the fact that they're coming off a bye week. And so typically when you play a defense like this, one, they're rested. Two, specific to this game, they're probably upset, angry about how the last game finished for them. And they have time to put things in that perhaps you're not ready for. We will be surprised on a few things, whether it's a front, it's a type of pressure, it's a coverage. We'll see something different. And that usually happens every week. But when a team comes off a bye, you see a lot more of it. So it's a concern. So you have to be ready for just about everything. They are well coached. They have a lot of talent. They're really tough against the run. And with these elements coming up, obviously we feel like we're going to have to run the football. So we've got our work cut out for us. But that would be the biggest thing, specific to this week.
Talking just about the excitement of getting Hendon on the field and getting the opportunity to coach him. We know, I guess, generally speaking, third-string quarterbacks don't have a lot of rep opportunities just with the backup running the scout team. So what are some of the things you're able to accomplish with Hendon during this 3-week window that you weren't getting the opportunity to do before that?
So he's practicing with us. He is doing individual with us. So I'm able to take all the quarterbacks through individual drills. And, we're shuffling through bags. And he's taking a drop and I'm hitting him, some ball security drills. We've got this net that has holes that we throw into, and he's been amazing. Just been amazing at it. He's been really good. And after that, Teddy won't let him have any reps. So I haven't seen anything else. Teddy just absolutely refuses to let him have a rep. But I think he has to imitate Justin Fields this week, and he's much better at that, I'm sure, than Teddy is. So we'll see how that goes. It's great to have him on the field. He works hard, and he's the young guy, so we give him a little grief. But we're so glad to have him out there. He's a talented kid. But really, we've just had individual drills, and I was being sarcastic. I mean, it's just individual drills. He hasn't had a true rep yet, and even when he does some scout team, it'll be doing what the card says. But you got to start somewhere, and I think each week he'll feel more and more comfortable. But he certainly is a talented kid. I know my time with him on our off day in the meeting room has been very fruitful. He's a smart kid. He works hard at it. And he's just picking up things, which is really good to see.
What can you tell by a guy that, through those scout team reps that he may get, is there anything that,
Well, he hasn't got any scout team reps.
But just, from other.
Well, I think what you would see, you look at his feet and you look how that ball comes out. Is it accurate? Other than that, he's not really reading anything. He's just kind of doing what the card says. Sometimes those receivers are circled, so you throw. He's told to throw to that guy, and listen, there's just not a lot to gain from that. And until he gets some meaningful reps, maybe he will, maybe he won't. That's not my call. But scout team is just where does the ball go? How does it come out of his hand? He's got a little zip on it. Is it accurate? Is he moving around? How are his feet? His 3-step, his 5-step drop, whatever. So, listen, I'll be looking at him closely, just like I do when Teddy does scout team reps.
So talent mechanics, some of those things.
Yeah.
But is it still important for him to?
It would be important if Teddy gives him some. That's Teddy's call. And it's Teddy's call because he's the backup. Teddy is trying to get ready for Sunday just like anybody else. And so if Teddy feels he needs these throws or these plays in scout team, then Teddy's, it's his call. But because Jared takes all of the reps for our offense, and so Teddy has to get what he can. So, but we'll see. Maybe today, maybe the kid gets something. It's really up to Theodore.
Your schedule just hasn't featured a ton of outdoor games in the elements. Like, how does that focus change this week? Ahead of a cold, windy, possibly wet day in Chicago.
Yeah, well, we're practicing outside, and this week, all week, I imagine it's up to coach, of course, and I think if I'm just speaking about Jared, he's played in these games before, and Is he used to these conditions? He's got enough experience where I'm not concerned about it. And I think he'll be just fine. But you have to be smart. If it's really windy, which it looks like it's going to be, you have to call the game accordingly, understanding the conditions. But I feel pretty confident that our team has enough experience in these elements where will it affect us? Maybe a little bit, but I think we'll be just fine and should be able to execute our offense. That's our expectation. And our approach on this is, listen, we don't care what it's like out there. When we call a play, when Coach Johnson calls a play, his expectation is that it's executed properly. And that's certainly how Jared approaches it.
As somebody who played at Soldier Field as a player, what are the biggest challenges to a quarterback that you're faced with, especially in December, January type games?
The biggest challenge is it's dependent on the weather, of course, and every quarterback's different. Wind used to bother me. I hated wind. I hated windy days. Just hated them. It didn't bother Jared at all. It didn't affect him at all. And and I'm pretty impressed for a guy that played in LA and grew up in California, how the elements just don't seem to bother him at all. It's pretty impressive, actually. But again, I think he's in his 8th year right now. He's been in those games, in those environments, and he's had success. But he handles those type of things, with a lot of confidence, a lot of poise. While some young quarterbacks might be talking about the weather and asking about the weather, he hadn't even brought it up today, and he won't, which is cool.
Ask you about Teddy. It's just been an unfortunate year with quarterback injuries around this league, and you guys have been blessed with a guy that's been durable throughout his career. But I think we all know it's one play away in this league. This is how it is. What kind of confidence does it give you to have a guy like Teddy to know that if the ship needs to be kept afloat, you've got that guy in your back pocket?
I think if you ask Coach Campbell this question, he would say that's why Teddy's here. And he is a proven winner. He has proven that he can come off the bench and win 5 games in a row for you if necessary. He did that in New Orleans. He's very smart, very talented. And for a very, very old man, he can still play quarterback at a high level. No question. I love having Teddy. He's been great for Jared on game day. He's been great in the room. And he adds a lot. He brings a lot of value to the quarterback room. And if called upon, I think we would be very comfortable if Teddy had to go in there. And I love him to death. We want Jared upright and healthy and being our guy. But if necessary, Teddy would step in and do just fine. He would.
Mark, going back to when you were a player, what was valuable to you in a number 2 quarterback? And when you were the number 2 quarterback, what did you try to bring to the table?
Ooh, gosh, that was forever ago. What was valuable to me in a number 2 quarterback was knowing that number 2 quarterback, my backup, was there to be an extra set of eyes, to be in a support role, to help me on game day, to help me see things that perhaps I'm not seeing correctly. A smart veteran guy that just would come alongside and just help me. As a backup, I tried to be the same thing. And I had experience with both. Half the time in my career, I was a backup. Half the time, I was a starter. So I know what those 2 positions entail. But a backup quarterback should be there to support the starter. And that is ideal. It creates a really good working environment where where the quarterback feels supported. And that has been Teddy for Jared. And that's been really good for us. I can't say enough about Teddy and David, of course. Our room is solid right now. And really our number 1 goal in that room is to just help Jared be the best he can be on Sundays.
Mark, when you played with Dan back in New Orleans, is he like, as a head coach, is he like exactly the coach that you would have expected based on the way he was as a player? Or are there things that you see in him now that you kind of wonder where that might come from?
I was with him. I was with him for 1 year. I think the year that we were together, I think he went on IR, I believe. So I don't think he got that season, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we had, training camp together, spent some time off the field, got to know each other, became friends. Hardworking, very passionate, and very straightforward, very smart player. Does this all sound familiar? So yeah, and he probably still can't catch, but he could run routes and block. And please don't put that out there at all. It just came out. I'm just kidding. He's had great hands. He was just a great teammate, good guy. Everyone loved being around him, and passionate, smart, worked hard, and guys like being around him. And that type of player, that's who he was, and that's who he is as a coach. No, I'm serious about that catch thing now, guys. I like my job. I like my job. Well, he would probably tell you that I couldn't throw at that time either, and he was right. All right, see y'all.